everybody. This is Ellen Weatherford.
And Isaac.
Welcome back, Isaac. It's been a while.
I'm back. And it has not been 4 years yet.
It hasn't.
I am
It's
11.
only been 1 year since your last time here.
I am 11.
Now, for those unfamiliar, Isaac is my oldest son. Isaac has been on the podcast in the past.
Twice.
I know this is your third appearance. The first time I think was when you were 5,
6.
maybe 6. It was your 6th birthday.
Yes, it was my 6th birthday. I remember it so clearly. I had this little picture. I think I was just trying to draw a Barbarical from Pokemon.
Oh.
But I called it a Doomerang.
Oh.
And then we did an episode on that made-up animal.
I see the inspiration now. Now that you say that, I see where you got the inspiration.
Fast forward 4 years later. I have matured.
Mm-hmm.
I now know what Beyblades are.
Yeah, you've grown as a person a lot.
What else should we cover before we get into the questions?
Right, this is the banter section.
Welcome back to Dear Isaac and Ellen.
I guess it's kind of what this is a little bit. We listen to a lot of Dear Hank and John in the car.
Or as you like to call it, Dear Ellen and Isaac. Or as you like to call it, just the zoo of us.
Well, what do you want to tell the listeners about what you've been up to in the year since you were last with us?
I play Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot. Me and my friend like to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of fun. I also play basketball.
Yeah? You've been really getting into basketball lately?
When I go to middle school, I might join the basketball team. And I also do 5th grade band now.
Yeah?
I'm going to do 6th grade band, and I'm going to play trombone.
Yeah, you got to play a little bit for me. I hadn't heard you play in a while. I got to hear it the other day. So as with last year's appearance, Isaac is here to help me answer some questions from our young listeners.
But I'm going to take a crack at him first, right?
Yes, you get to take a crack at them first. I have prepared some responses to the questions, but I'll let you take the first pass. So young listeners have sent us in some questions that were really thought-provoking. I had so much fun researching these questions and finding what I found to be satisfactory answers. So Isaac, if you would, please read this first question.
Ellie, age 11. Oh, I'm 11.
You are, yeah, so same age.
Ellie, you and I are bonded now. And her parent, Ryan. Ellie has a question for you. She was wondering if every species has an albino variation and how that might benefit something. Okay, so, first of all...
Do you know what albino means?
It means white.
Yes. Well, I will give a more expansive defdefinition of what albino means.
It means they are, like, solid white.
Sure.
So, maybe an animal that doesn't like the heat, because the color black attracts heat, and maybe this is a black penguin. So this penguin does not want the heat. So he gets an albino form. He unlocks the new skin with his mine coins. He buys a new texture pack.
Okay.
And now the white does not attract a lot of heat. Which is why snow is white.
That's a good thought.
Wait, is that why snow is white?
It's not why snow is white, but that's a cool thought. Like, white would reflect more light and be better for an animal not to get too
I know
hot.
that black absorbs a lot of heat because in Florida, whenever, like, in the summer, whenever we leave the car in the parking lot, I'd like touch it and I'd be like, ow, ah.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there.
And I'd get in and I'd be like, what is this?
This wasn't part of my response, but since you mentioned black penguins, the opposite of albinism is a condition called melanism.
Oh, yeah. That's melanin, and it makes them all black.
Yeah, and there are melanistic penguins. Have you ever seen pictures of them?
No.
Are there solid black penguins?
Are there albino penguins?
Certainly there are. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, have you seen them?
I didn't seek out a picture of penguins specifically.
Okay.
But I have seen pictures of melanistic penguins.
Okay,
They're so cute.
I want to see a picture of an albino black panther. Wait, no, a black panther is just a melanistic puma?
Leopard. Or jaguar.
Then I need to see an albino.
You know what really is annoying? I'm trying to use Google to pull up some pictures of an albino jaguar or leopard for you. And all of the pictures that came up for me are all AI generated, not real pictures.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's really annoying. Or clearly photoshopped.
That's so stinky.
Anyway, so that's a good thought about like the color white reflecting more light. So maybe, you know, making an animal a little bit better at heat resistance or heat like tolerance. So animals get their colors from pigments. And the most common one in mammals like us, but also in reptiles and in birds and things like that, is melanin. Like you mentioned melanin. Melanin gives our skin and hair various shades of brown. So lighter brown all the way to darker brown. Sometimes you get reds and oranges, things like that. That comes from melanin. And melanin actually does act kind of like built-in sunscreen in the skin cells. So it protects the skin from harmful UV radiation from sunlight.
Wait, so does that mean that if the black is attracting heat but not attracting sunburn?
So because the melanin absorbs most of that light, like the UV light from the sun, it is preventing all of that light from like radiating your cells, basically. So albinism is a genetic condition where an individual's genes, which are basically the instructions for like building your body as written in your DNA, your genes don't produce the pigments that they are supposed to. So our bodies are supposed to produce some amounts of melanin to give our skin color and to protect our skin from UV radiation. But if you have the albino condition, then your genes just don't produce the melanin that they are supposed to. The result is pale white skin and hair, and it's a recessive trait also. So you could have two parents who do not appear to be albino that have an albino child. So it's not necessarily something that like, it's not a trait that has like evolved because it was like selected for, right? It's not a trait that helps with survival. So it's not like an evolved trait. It's just something that kind of happens. It's a quirk of genetics. It just happens sometimes. It's not a trait that is like an evolved trait. And since it's just a quirk of genetics, it's not necessarily something that aids in survival or that helps an animal at all. The result is usually pale white skin and hair or other coverings, right? So in a bird, this would be white feathers. In a reptile, this would be white scales. And eyes that often appear red or pink. And that's because since there's no pigment to give the eye color, what you're seeing is the blood vessels inside of the eyeball. Did that freak you out?
Red Eyes White Dragon?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I guess Red Eyes White Dragon would be an albino.
Dude, if a Red Eyes Dragon's supposed to be black and a Blue Eyes...
You've hit your Yu-Gi-Oh reference quota for the day.
Okay, there's going to be more.
So in general, like I mentioned, it doesn't offer any benefits to the survival of an individual. And in fact, it actually usually introduces more challenges to the individual.
What?
So there's a few extra problems that an albino individual would have. One problem is a higher risk of skin cancer. So like I mentioned, since melanin acts like a sunscreen, like a built-in sunscreen, when you do not have it, your skin cells are being exposed to more UV radiation. So for example, there have certainly been many albino gorillas, but the only albino gorilla ever like documented by humans was a gorilla named Snowflake, and Snowflake lived at the Barcelona Zoo in Spain until he passed away in 2003, and he did pass away of skin cancer, which was almost certainly the result of him being albino.
Oh no.
Yeah. So this is really common. This is a thing that individual animals of any species that have that are albino are at an increased risk of skin cancer. There's also the loss of camouflage, right? If it's an animal that relies on camouflage to hide from predators and they're albino, they don't have that camouflage. Now they're bright, bright white.
Unless they're an albino penguin.
I mean, penguins aren't really camouflaged, right? They're black and white. They're not really meant to hide from a predator.
Unless you're in a very snowy environment.
I mean, you think about something like a peacock, right? Like a peacock is not made for camouflage. Their colors are not for camouflage. They're for show. So if you're albino, you're not necessarily losing camouflage, but you are losing the colors that they usually use to display for mates. So you're at a disadvantage there.
But if being albino introduces extra challenges, then is that nature's way of saying we don't want more albino toucans?
Toucans?
Or peacocks?
Not necessarily. It's not something that has any sort of, it's not bad or good, it's just a thing that happens sometimes. It's like the nature of evolution is that sometimes you get these quirks of genetics, you get these random mutations that over time can accumulate and become, more permanent like traits in a species. But that's part of the evolution process, right, is random mutations. And sometimes those random mutations result in not making any pigment and you end up albino. Melanin also does play a really important role in the growth and function of eyes. So when your body is not producing enough melanin, it can impede the growth of your eyes. So albino individuals often have impaired vision. They cannot see very well.
That reminds me of someone in the Warrior Cats series.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was like this.
No spoilers for people who haven't read it yet, but...
No, this is like happening very early on.
Oh, okay.
There's this cat named Longtail.
Okay.
And he had very white fur. And he had to retire early and become an elder because of failing vision.
I wonder if it's an albino thing.
No, he doesn't have bright red eyes.
Oh, okay.
But still, well, actually, I've heard that, so in Warrior Cats, cats with blue eyes have a higher chance to be blind or deaf.
I think that's a real thing. I think that's true. Hello, quick editing note. I looked into this. There is a link between blue-eyed white cats and deafness. According to the Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine, up to 85% of white cats with blue eyes are deaf. And this is because the dominant genes that give cats white coats and blue eyes also gives them deteriorated inner ears, so they end up deaf. It's not actually related to being albino, but it is a strange genetic phenomenon. Back to the episode. The important thing here is that being albino is often related to having impaired vision.
Oh.
So now think about these things. Being more vulnerable to UV radiation from the sun. You also are more easy to see. You also can't see as well. These challenges would be no problem in something like a dark cave environment where there is no sunlight, right?
Albino cave bug?
Is that a thing? Or did you make that up?
Albino bug in a cave.
Oh, okay. So it's I thought there was like something called an albino cave bug that you were like referencing.
No, it's a bug that go in cave.
Well, it doesn't have to be a bug when being albino would not incur any harm at all, right? If being albino isn't going to hurt you at all, right? Because there's no light, so the predators couldn't see you anyway. You're not receiving any harmful rays from the sun, and you wouldn't be navigating on eyesight anyway. Being albino wouldn't hurt you. So rather than in those other cases where being albino would make an individual at higher risk of being killed or make them less likely to survive long enough to reproduce, right? Being albino doesn't really accumulate in the population. It happens randomly as a quirk of genetics, but it doesn't really accumulate. You don't get like a whole albino population, but you do see this in dark caves because being albino doesn't hurt you there. So it does accumulate. It can accumulate. So for example, there's a type of fish called the Mexican tetra. And Mexican tetras, they're these tiny little fish, little itty bitty fish, and they come in two distinct forms. So there's one form that lives closer to the surface, and it looks more or less like a pretty like normal silverfish. But there's another form, basically like the Alolan form, I guess, almost of this fish, and it is called the blind cave fish. And that form has evolved over time to have completely lost their pigments, so it's solid white. They have no eyes. Their eyes are gone. And this has happened to more than one population of the species in multiple different caves. So like in different caves throughout the range of this fish's habitat, you see these like all white eyeless forms of the fish arise over and over again, suggesting that they seem to be selecting for being albino. So in these dark cave environments, being albino actually does seem to be helping them in some way that is allowing the trait to accumulate in the dark cave populations. One thought about, like an idea about why this could be offering a benefit is that things like pigments and eyeballs and visual systems, like all the wiring that has to connect the eyeballs to the brain and stuff like that, that's a lot of things the body has to make. And your body needs to spend energy to make structures, right? So they would need to take in more food to make these structures like pigments and eyes and things like that. So if they just don't, they're kind of saving on like nutrients and energy and stuff like that. It kind of like saves them from having to make all that stuff, and they can get by on less food than they would need if they were making pigments and eyes and stuff. So in these really, really dark cave dwelling populations, in those situations, being albino might actually be helping them, which is an answer to Ellie's question. Now, as far as the question as to whether every species has an albino variation, we certainly don't have any way to prove for sure that like every species on the planet could be albino, right?
There's a lot of species we don't know about.
There's a lot of species we don't know about, right? And a lot of species that we've never seen an albino version of, but we don't have any reason to think that they wouldn't be able to.
And a lot of species that we have never seen, period, because they're dead.
Or at the bottom of the ocean.
Albino T-Rex.
There probably was an albino T-Rex at some point.
What about an albino ammonite?
Probably. Basically, if it makes pigment, if it has any sort of pigmentation to its body whatsoever, it could probably have that sort of genetic quirk that makes it not produce that pigment and end up being albino. Even in some plants can be albino. I saw a picture of an albino redwood tree where like all of the leaves on it. Do you know what the pigment is that leaves make that makes them green?
Food coloring?
Yeah, it's food coloring. They take it right out of the factory, and they get a guy out there with a little dropper, and he like manually drops green food coloring on every single leaf in the entire forest.
I love it when you get like this.
You ever seen Alice in Wonderland?
No.
Okay, well, there's a whole song about painting the roses red that reminded me of. But anyway, so plants can be albino. Basically, like if it produces a pigment, it could probably have that genetic variation that would make it, for whatever reason, not produce that pigment. And I was trying to think, like, well, maybe are there any species that just don't produce a pigment? Because then you couldn't be albino if you don't produce any pigment anyway. So the only couple of species that I could think of, the animal species that I could think of, that I don't think produce any pigment whatsoever, one of them is the moon jellyfish, which are completely transparent. I don't think their body produces a pigment.
Ooh, what about ghost shrimp?
Ghost shrimp, maybe?
Because I've seen them. They're like completely see-through.
Right. Yeah.
One time, one of them like split open. Or it looked like it split open, and I was like,
oh, it was molting, probably.
Oh, but I told my dad, I said, hey, this thing's dead.
Oh, it was probably just molting. It was like shedding its
I thought it was
skin.
dead.
No, it was probably molting. But yeah, ghost shrimp is a good one. I hadn't thought of that one, but I think you're right. I don't know if they produce any pigment. Another one I thought of was glass sponges their body is mostly made of like glass.
Those things live 10,000 years.
They do live 10,000 years.
Oh, wait, what about the immortal jellyfish?
I know they have a sort of red spot in the middle of them. I don't know if that's produced from a pigment or if that's from like, I don't think they have blood. So I don't know what it is that gives them a red spot, but I know they have a red spot in the middle. I can't say with certainty.
I was about to say, speaking of living for a very long time.
Yeah. So that would be my thought. I think an animal species could potentially be albino as long as it produces a pigment.
If all of the ghost shrimps don't have pigment, does that mean that they're all albino?
No, because albino means that you do not produce pigment that you are supposed to produce.
Oh.
So if you're not supposed to produce any, you're fine. You're good. You are producing the correct amount. But if you are supposed to be making some and you're not, that's being albino. And there's also like a pretty wide spectrum. There's like a variety of different like varying degrees. Like you could be piebald, where like you have splotches of white. You could be leucistic, which often means like maybe an animal like is white, but maybe they have blue eyes instead of red eyes. So there's kind of a lot of different variations on being albino. This is just kind of the basic, simple definition of it. Second question, please.
Question number 2. Robert, age 8.
Robert, our 8-year-old listener, asked multiple questions, and I will focus on just 2 here, 2 that I felt like I could do the best job of answering.
Is the blue whale the largest animal that has ever lived, including extinct animals? And does the blue whale have any predators other than humans? True.
So what do you think of the first question? Is the blue whale the largest animal that has ever lived? What do you think?
Yes, that is factually correct.
Yeah, even dinosaurs?
Wait. I think there might have been a bigger one, or maybe it was the biggest flying animal, but I think it was called Quetzalcoatlus.
Oh, yep. That is the largest animal that has ever flown. It had like a 40-foot wingspan. It was a type of
was that
pterosaur.
bigger than a blue whale?
No. Quetzalcoatlus is the one you're thinking of. What do you think?
I'm going to lock in my answer with yes.
All right, very good. You locked in. So to current knowledge, yes, the blue whale is the largest animal that has ever existed in the history of the planet, bigger than any dinosaur. Now, that is not including things like colonial animals, so something like a siphonophore, which could reach, hundreds of feet long, but it is kind of like a long string of like a colony of organisms, because then you get into this question of like, what is an individual? Like, or do you really consider the whole thing to be an organism if it's a colony? Like, it gets a little bit questionable at that point.
What is a colonial animal?
It's something like a coral.
Oh, yeah, because all the polyps, they stack on top of each other like Tetris.
I wouldn't say they stack on top of each other, but they do like glom together, They
do like papier mache.
Yeah, like paper mache. Yeah.
I think it's called papier mache.
I don't think it's called that. Where did you hear that?
Spider-Man.
Okay. Anyway. So now over the last I was looking around because I was like, you know what? I should check to make sure like that's still true, because it's a fact I've heard repeated many times over the years. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to double check. There has been some suggestion over the last few years that a giant ichthyosaur. Do you know what an ichthyosaur is?
It's like Plessy?
Plessy?
From Mario, like the big sea monster.
Yeah.
I think there's like a mosasaurus.
That I don't think was an ichthyosaur.
Okay,
what's
then
mosasaur?
Is it like really big body, really long neck, and like 4 big flippers?
Ichthyosaurs were kind of like fish lizards. They're sort of whale-shaped, so they don't have that big long neck like you're thinking of. You're thinking of plesiosaurs.
Plessy.
Plessy, the plesiosaur. They had these big flippers and they had long necks and a little head. Ichthyosaurs were more sort of like dolphin shaped. They were very short, like short bodied and stout with sort of like long jaws. This one particular giant ichthyosaur that lived in the Triassic period, which is over 200 million years ago.
That was before the Jurassic.
That's right. Yes, it was. And it may have been about the size of a blue whale and potentially even bigger, but those estimates are based only on an incomplete lower jawbone. So they have one bone, they have one fossil from this whole animal, and it's not even the whole bone. They have an incomplete jawbone. So they had to make all of these estimations and everything about how big this animal was based on, like, imagine if someone looked at like one of your finger bones and tried to guess how tall you were based on that. Paleontologists would need to find a lot more fossils from that species to know for sure how big it was. It's a maybe. It's a big question mark. But right now, not enough is known to say for sure that it would have been as big or bigger than a blue whale.
Big question mark for a big animal.
That's right. That's a big question mark right there. Now, as far as Robert's second question, does the blue whale have any predators other than humans? What do you think?
Barnacle? Or is
Barnacle?
No, that's a parasitic relationship. I saw that in an ad once.
You saw it in an ad?
I think it was an ad for a money app.
Really? And they were talking about barnacle, the parasitic relationship
between barnacles and whales? They were at a bookstore and they were buying a bunch of books.
Oh.
And they were buying a book about whales.
Wow.
And the one guy said, "Did you know that whales and barnacles have a parasitic relationship?" And then the other guy says, "I love parasitic relationships. Come here, barnacle."
Okay, I guess I haven't seen this commercial, but
no, I guarantee you have.
Yeah, probably. I probably just wasn't paying attention.
So, but yeah, other than humans, cookie cutter sharks.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, that's nuclear subs. That's nuclear subs.
Nuclear subs. Yeah, the nuclear submarine's natural predator.
That's the nuke. Cookie cutter shark used bite. It was super effective on Titanic.
They do just chomp right into those bad boys.
Nom nom.
So yeah, I mean those are great guesses. I bet a cookie cutter shark probably has chomped down into a blue whale. That's not enough to kill it, right? Oh. Not enough to like take one down. And I think that Robert is asking about like something that could kill a blue whale.
Well, so if we take this blue whale and we time travel it back, maybe this ichthyosaur you're talking about earlier, maybe that, maybe a megalodon, because those are pretty big, or maybe if we time travel it forward, maybe alien animal.
Ooh, I like that.
Think of like the aliens from Arrival, like those big guys.
You have not seen Arrival.
I've seen one frame of it.
You've seen one frame of it?
I've seen one frame of it, and I know that the aliens are big guys with tentacles.
Probably a pretty cool frame, I bet.
Yeah, and they're big guys with tentacles, and they're like coming off their spaceship, and then this generic guy is just like looking at them. He's like,
it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually have them in my notes here in a couple minutes.
Arrival?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so
you'll see why. But so those are good guesses. I like your guesses. I like the barnacle pull and the cookie cutter shark pull.
And also,
okay.
Megalodon, and Ichthyosaurus, and
okay.
Gigantosaurus.
And okay. Great guesses. So the only known for sure predator, and I'm not going to count parasites, so I'm going to discard barnacles, but that's a good thought. But the only known predator of the blue whale, like documented instances of an animal hunting blue whales, is orcas.
Of course it would be the killer whale. Of course it's the killer.
Orcas are obviously much, much smaller than blue whales.
They should have stuck to the seals, bro.
They should have.
Well, no. Save the seals. I take it back.
I know your team seal. So orcas are obviously much smaller than blue whales, but like wolves, they hunt together in pods, and this makes them able to overwhelm a much larger whale, right? So like maybe if it's one orca versus one fully grown blue whale, orca probably couldn't take it down, but considering that orcas typically swim together with a bunch of other orcas, now you've got like 5 orcas, now you're in business. Yeah, you're cooked.
Okay, well, that reminds me, because like if you have like one fire ant on you,
that's not that big a deal.
You smack it, and maybe it stings a little from the bite or from the smack.
Yeah,
but he's gone. But if you step on an anthill, run for your life.
Yeah, it's over for you. Roll credits. So yeah, usually orcas only hunt blue whale calves, which I think is a cheap shot. That's cowardly, right?
Well, no, it's not cowardice. It's smartness.
Strategy.
It's them bringing themselves down to earth. They're like, we can't fight this guy. So it's like, I can't take you down, but I can take you down.
So you respect the humility.
Yeah, I like orcas, and I like blue whales, and I like a lot of animals. I don't like mosquitoes.
Okay. I don't see why mosquitoes are catching strays all of a sudden. Oh, I do know why, because we just got back from camping.
Yeah, and Finley was crashing out over like a lone mosquito.
Well, in his defense, it was a crane fly that he thought was a mosquito, and crane flies are huge. So if I saw one of those and I thought it was a mosquito, I would definitely also have been crashing out. But yes, he was quite upset over the mosquitoes.
You're like,
so yeah, orcas have also been observed hunting and killing blue whales that were up to 60 to 70 feet long. So it's not just the babies they're going after. They will square up.
That's a lot of sandwiches.
Yeah, that's a lot of cheeseburgers.
No, like footlongs. 70 footlongs just lined up.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, now I'm hungry.
So Robert's parent Rachel also had a question. Could you read me that question?
Yes. Why isn't bacteria considered an animal? What's the criteria to be an animal? I feel like last time we had a question of what is the smallest animal?
We did.
Who did that?
I don't remember. I don't have that information.
Shout out to whoever asked me what was the smallest animal.
That actually, this parent's question was in response to that question on our last episode together.
All right, so hear me out.
Okay.
You remember, they asked what was the smallest animal, and I said bacteria.
Right.
Coronavirus.
Well, virus is not bacteria.
Oh, toilet water.
I mean, there's probably bacteria in toilet water, but toilet water is not like a species.
I don't know any bacteria.
Well, the question here is, why are bacteria not an animal?
Okay, so I think I got this.
Okay.
They don't give birth to their young.
Okay.
So they don't have young. They just kind of clone themselves.
Okay.
Clone Wars.
There are animals that do that.
Yeah, there was one, like, I think it was called the something Molly.
The Amazon Molly.
Amazon
clones
Molly?
itself. Well, they do give birth, but they give birth to clones of themselves. But there's things like sponges, which actually do reproduce by like budding or by like, corals, yeah.
But normally animals need to eat to stay alive.
Okay.
And it's like sometimes you don't eat because you're hungry, you just eat because you're bored and you want something to do.
Uh-huh.
Hence the invention of gum. But,
okay.
So I think this is bacteria. They aren't hungry. They just are bored and they want food.
You think so?
They go to parties just because they have snacks. They go to parties for the snacks.
Me too. Now, consider this. Carnivorous plants.
See, those need to eat to survive. But, wait, no.
They don't. They can. They can do it when, like, there's not enough nutrients for them to get by.
Okay, so then, if there's not enough nutrients, they do that to survive. Bacteria does not need nutrients. Bacteria does not care about nutrients.
Bacteria does need nutrients.
Okay, bacteria needs your nutrients.
Not necessarily. Bacteria live in a lot of different places.
Okay, bacteria needs other things nutrient.
I'll throw you a life preserver here. There's not really any morphological or physiological way to define what an animal is perfectly, because any sort of trait or any sort of role or need, anything that you would say this is what an animal is or what an animal does, there's always going to be an exception. There's going to be an animal that doesn't apply to. And there's also going to be something outside of the animal kingdom that also does apply to, right? So like fungi or plants.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't actually define an animal based on things that it does or things that it has.
So what about dictionaries? How do they put animal in a dictionary?
I don't know, like Merriam-Webster's or something. I don't know how they would define. They would probably define it as a species that belongs to the animal kingdom.
Hey!
So the best way to define what an animal is taxonomically. Do you know what this means? Do you know what the word taxonomic means? Or
taxes?
Taxonomy? It does have the word tax in it, so I could see why you would think that.
Is it where you cut the head off of an animal and stuff it?
That's taxidermy. Also a great guess.
Taxonomy is like the pyramid of animal things. So it's like the domain, which is like all living things.
Yes.
Kingdom, which is like animal, plant, fungi.
Yep.
Phylum?
Yes. Good. You got it.
Genus?
Ooh, that's where you messed up a little bit. Underneath phylum is usually order.
Order.
Mm-hmm.
And then genus.
And then is family.
Family. And then genus.
And then genus.
And then species.
There you go. Yeah. Quick note, we forgot to mention class, which goes between phylum and order.
Now, why is it that you and I are completely different, but we are the same species?
Well, why is a Great Dane and a Chihuahua different, but they're both dogs? I would say a Great Dane and a Chihuahua are more different from each other than you and I are. And they're both in the same species.
Well, yeah, because they're different breeds.
Well, so I think we're getting into like a little bit more into the taxonomy weeds of what is a species, but what we're looking at is what is an animal.
I think
right?
like Minute Earth was trying to like figure that out
Yeah.
Figure that one out for like 5 years.
Well, so the best way to define an animal is taxonomically, which, do you know how things get decided? Like how scientists and taxonomists decide what, like, okay, you go in this genus, you go in this family, you go. Do you know how they figure that stuff out?
Die roll?
Oh, like they rolled dice.
Just roll their D100 to find out their trinket.
Well, it's determined based on ancestry. So if you imagine like a family tree.
Oh yeah, Luca.
Okay, yeah, Luca. Like
so,
the last universal common ancestor would be at the very, 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 very top of the whole tree.
It's like
Well, Luca would be the common ancestor that all of those things have in common.
It's descended from Luca.
Right. But so you would define an animal by all of the species that are descended from our most recent common ancestor with, I think it's sponges in the phylum Porifera, which I think is the most like distantly related animal the most far removed from us. So the criteria for being an animal is not necessarily something physiological. It's not something that you could like look at an animal and know, okay, it has this thing, it has this trait, it does this thing. That makes it an animal. It's more, what are you descended from?
That's neat.
Yeah. The first part of the question, which was why aren't bacteria part of that? One part of the answer is because they're not descended from the most recent common ancestor, like from us and the other animals. But another part of the answer, what like makes bacteria very different from animals, is that bacteria are something called prokaryotes. So a prokaryote is a type of organism. First of all, it's a single-celled organism, typically. What sets them apart from us is that their cells don't have nuclei. Do you know what a nucleus is in a cell?
A nucleus is like its heart.
Sort of. Yeah, I would think of it more analogous to a brain because it's the part of the cell that contains all of the bundles of DNA.
Neat.
So they don't have a nucleus, and they also don't necessarily have organelles, which are the little bits and things inside of our cells. Things like the mitochondria and the endoplasmic reticulum and the poop that's inside of our cells.
Our cells need toilets.
Yeah. So prokaryotes, including bacteria, there are more prokaryotes than just bacteria, but bacteria and other prokaryotes do not have those things. The alternative to being prokaryote is eukaryote, which means your cells do have nuclei and organelles, and eukaryotes include plants and fungi and animals. So all three of those things, plants, fungi, and animals, are all more closely related to each other than bacteria.
Me karyotes?
Yeah, us karyote. We all karyote.
No, them karyote.
Can you read Magnus's question?
I know a guy named Magnus Carlson. He plays chess. I was wondering, what is your favorite animal-related movie? Well, I can answer that one right now. Mine is definitely Paddington 2. Also, what is your favorite movie in general? I can also answer that one right now.
Okay, Isaac.
The answer to the animal one. Flo.
That's yours?
Yes.
I had Flo too. I was also going to say Flo.
My favorite movie in general, though, it used to be Ron's Gone Wrong. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
I got to watch it like 5 times in 1 week because I was showing it to all my relatives.
Yeah, you watched it like a different person's house every day for like a week.
I'd be like, I know what to do.
So what is it now? What's your current favorite?
I think it is tied. It's like a 3 or 4-way tie. I'm trying to think of all the best movies. I think like Ron's Gone Wrong.
Still holding the title.
Flo.
Okay.
Despicable Me 4.
Really? Interesting.
And the Minecraft movie.
Okay. All right.
I am Steve.
Yep, you sure are.
No,
right.
I'm Isaac.
Those are good picks.
And also.
Yeah.
What was the animal related question?
Oh, what your favorite animal related movie is?
Flo.
I also had Flo on my list.
You know, I could do Flo right now. Let me do some rapping.
Nope.
I got Flo.
Absolutely not. I'll beep the whole thing out.
What? You think it's saying curse words?
No, it's just cursed.
It's just beep, 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 beep.
So I had a few picks for my favorite animal related movie. I also had Flo on mine, which is a really, really cute movie. It came out last year. I think it won an Oscar. So I had a few other animal related movie picks. One of them is Zootopia. I like Zootopia.
Finley watched that one like forever, and then it burnt me out on Zootopia.
I know, but it's a fun movie.
Okay, but I when you watch it every day for like 2 weeks,
then go do something else. Don't sit there and watch it.
I'm a couch potato.
My other animal related movie picks were the movie Babe from 1995.
Baby.
Which is about a little pig on a farm that like herds sheep. It's really, really cute. And the other one that I picked was The Land Before Time.
I almost like you said that's another movie about a pig on fire.
On fire? I've never seen a movie about that.
No. Any movie you've seen that includes bacon.
The Land Before Time, which
that's about dinosaurs.
Yes, and it came out in 1988.
It's about Yoshi.
When I was a kid, that was my every single day movie. We watched it on VHS. Now, as for favorite movie in general, you had a few picks. Do you want to know what my pick was?
What?
We mentioned it a few minutes ago.
Is it Zootopia?
No, the one earlier where I said, oh, that one's in my notes.
What?
Do you remember what it was?
Flow?
It was literally like, it was like 5 minutes ago.
Flow?
It was Arrival.
Arrival!
I think that's probably my favorite movie, like in general. It's the one that comes to mind as it's the movie that I have seen that I think about the most. Like, well, yeah, I enjoyed watching it, and I have thought about it. I think I've thought about it every single day since I saw it in 2016.
I think of my favorite movie. I think of Ron's Gone Wrong because I saw it and I was in love with it. Yeah. I wanted to marry this robot.
You were really into it. You liked Wild Robot too.
How can I not mention that?
Yeah.
I'm a criminal.
Well, I think you like a movie about a robot with a heart of gold.
I like a movie about a robot and also a lot of comedy.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break to hear from our friends on the Maximum Fun Network, and then we'll get back to our last few questions.
Actor Samantha Sloyan has played a lot of characters. Bev Keane in Midnight Mass, Miss Rohrbacher in the new film The Life of Chuck, Lily, the mother who diligently watches over her son in the hit medical drama The Pit. But what character really made Samantha Sloyan feel seen? That is Special Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks.
When you see somebody swing for the fences with almost like no sense of embarrassment or, just with total abandon, I'm just captivated.
Join me, Jordan Crucchiola, for that and more on the latest Feeling Seen from MaximumFun.org.
Hey there. Do you like books about various shades of gray?
Maybe 50 of them? Or books about winged men searching for soulmates?
Is your e-reader full of stories that would pair well with Barry White in the background?
We're Bria and Mallory of Reading Glasses, and we have a brand new show for people who crave reads with just a dash of sriracha sauce.
That's right. Every other Friday, we dive into books that can be measured on the Scoville scale and talk to the people who love them.
You can find our new show by visiting MaximumFun.org/spicy. That's MaximumFun.org/spicy.
Iris, age 7. How do flying squirrels actually fly? They have wings.
Really? You think so?
No, they have gliders under their armpits.
Yeah? Do you know what it's called?
Membrane.
It is a type of membrane. There's a fancy word for it. Do you want to hear the fancy word for it?
Constipation?
What? Isaac, what? Yeah, constipation is how they fly. That's what keeps them up. They're soaring through the air, powered purely by constipation.
Fart boosting?
Yeah.
You better not edit that out.
It's called the patagium, Isaac.
The potato?
Yeah, the potato. So flying squirrels, which, by the way, are rodents, not like sugar gliders. Sugar gliders are marsupials. Actually, this sort of body plan of a small mammal that glides through the air has actually happened quite a few times in the sort of mammal family. It's kind of interesting how often this has happened.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
When I heard of flying squirrel,
yeah,
I instantly imagined Emolga, the Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was like, Emolga has membranes under its armpits.
Yeah.
That's how they fly.
Yeah, so that has happened quite a few times in the mammal family tree with colugos. Colugos do this, and they're more closely related to primates. And then there are flying squirrels, which are rodents, and then there's also sugar gliders, which are marsupials.
Sugar gliders sound more sweet.
They're adorable. So flying squirrels, like you mentioned, do have a membrane of skin, and it is kind of like the skin in between your fingers, but theirs is actually covered in fur, and it runs all the way from their wrists to their ankles. So if you imagine that your wrist was connected to your ankle by just a big parachute flap of skin, and they also have a little bitty one that runs from their ankles to their tail.
Can I not?
Can you not imagine that?
Imagine that? I remember trying to draw a dragon. Don't dragons have a similar thing?
They can.
Or they have this fictional dragons.
Right.
They have their wings.
As opposed to the real ones.
No. Komodo dragons cannot do this. Anyway, so they'll have their wings, and then they'll have a membrane.
Right.
That will connect to their lower waist.
Yeah.
And then that's what keeps the membrane from just going bye-bye.
Sure. You can draw a dragon's wing however your heart desires, but that's a common way to do it.
You know a fun fact?
What?
Dragons that have 4 legs and 2 wings are physically I shouldn't say physically impossible. Physically very, very, very unlikely.
Yeah.
Because they were all built, basically every mammal always has this 4-limb body plan.
Yep. It's called being a tetrapod.
I'm a tetrapod.
There are no vertebrates that have more than 4 legs. So unless a dragon was something very, very taxonomically unusual, they should only have 4 limbs, and the wings count as limbs.
Bust out the nuclear stuff.
Anyway, back to flying squirrels. Because there's more to them than just the membrane. So when the flying squirrel jumps from a tree and they start to fall, they spread their arms and legs out like a starfish. The skin stretches out like a parachute and catches the wind below them, allowing them to glide. Now, flying squirrels actually have something. I didn't know this until I was researching for this. They have a very unique cartilage structure. Do you know what cartilage is?
Bones.
It's not bone.
Oh, cartilage is like the tough stuff that you get when you're trying to eat chicken wings. It's like that tough stuff that you don't want to really have to chew.
Sure.
Wait,
yeah.
no, isn't it called gristle?
Gristle is also
It's like that tough
in.
stuff that they spit it out and you're like, Mom, can I not eat this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So cartilage is this sort of like hard, rubbery structure that you can actually find it in your ears. So the structure that your ears are made out of. You have cartilage in your ears, also in your nose.
I like playing with this little flap right here.
Yeah. So they have a cartilage structure that actually, weirdly, it looks like a really, really long curved claw, and it sticks out of the sides of their wrists.
Wolverine.
It's just one. It's not the 3 blades like Wolverine has.
Okay, well.
But it does act like a wingtip. So it reduces drag while gliding, and they can use it to adjust the angle and like the tightness of the membrane, which gives them better control over their flight.
Do they have these on like one on each hand?
Yes, one on each hand.
Okay, so also dragons have like small little claws where their wing bones bend.
So when I look at like the wings on someone's illustration of a dragon. I imagine the wings more analogous to a bat's wings, right?
Yeah, because dragons are bats.
I mean, that's a take.
Well, dragons can be bats if you want to draw them like bats.
Sure, yeah, for sure. But usually the way that dragons are drawn, their wing is analogous to a hand where the membrane runs between what would be their fingers. But for the flying squirrel, the membrane doesn't go between fingers. It's like the whole hand is like, up at one edge. But the little cartilage structure reminds me a lot of when you make a paper airplane and you kind of fold the little wingtip up.
When I make a paper airplane?
Yeah, you make a lot of paper airplanes.
I mean, not really anymore. That was early 5th grade.
That was early 5th grade. That was forever ago.
That was pre-2025. that trend is so over. That's so 2024.
But you did give them little wingtips.
Yeah, though. I gave them little wingtips, and they were so cute, and they did not fly straight at all. Oh no, the ones I intended to fly straight didn't fly straight. But when I made one that was supposed to be a quote unquote stunt type plane. It flew perfectly straight.
Well, it sounds like a skill issue because flying squirrels can do it just fine.
Actually, it's more of a minus curse. It's more of like a reverse polarity.
You want to read the next question? The next question is from Crystal's kiddos. Crystal wrote in on behalf of their kiddos.
Why does a raccoon have stripes?
What do you think? Why do you think raccoons have stripes?
Pigment.
Oh, you're thinking more like what mechanically produces the stripes. I was interpreting this question in more
camouflage.
What factors would be like contributing to this raccoon having stripes?
Camouflage, but also.
Okay.
Here's my kid logic moment.
Mm-hmm.
If like some caterpillars that will probably kill you if you eat them, they use their colors to show birds, hey, don't eat me, I will murder you.
Okay.
And so they're trying to imitate that so that their predators don't eat them.
You think it's an aposematism?
What's aposematism?
It's what you're talking about, where something has like high contrasting colors to indicate.
Aposimian?
What does that mean?
It means monkey.
Simian does.
Oh.
Aposimian is nothing.
Well, part of whatever you just said, sounds like simian.
Okay. Aposematism is what you're talking about, how like something will have bright or high contrasting colors as a threat to a predator. Like, hey, don't eat me, I'm poisonous, or I smell really bad.
That's why kids have to wear bright clothes when they cross the street so that people can see them.
I don't think that's aposematism.
That's please don't run me over citizen.
I mean, when you wear bright, high contrasting colors, it is to advertise that you are highly toxic.
I'm toxic.
I was making a joke.
No,
So this isn't the sort of thing that you can just like look up and there's like one clear-cut answer as to why raccoons have stripes. But here are a few sort of possible explanations and it's probably not like one thing, right? It's probably multiple different factors, like multiple different ways that the tail stripes are helping. One of them is that the high contrast black and white pattern is more conspicuous. Do you know what the word conspicuous means?
It means like incognito.
It's
like,
the opposite of that.
Does it mean like, hey everyone, I'm here.
Yes.
Come pay attention to me.
Yep, that's what conspicuous means. And this might seem kind of counterintuitive because you mentioned camouflage, like it might be helping them blend in and not be seen by a predator.
Fleetingly.
So why would you want to be conspicuous? Well, consider that they only have those high contrast stripes on their tail, not on the rest of their body. So this could be attracting the attention of a predator away from the important parts of the body, like where the organs are, and towards the tail, where if a predator were to like grab a raccoon by the tail, the raccoon could easily get away.
I keep trying not to think of zigzagoons right now.
I mean, yeah, zigzagoon does kind of look like that. So that could be one. It could be that the black and white stripes are drawing the attention of the predator towards their non-vital tail. It also could be helping them communicate with each other because it's easier to see.
I don't think they're salamanders.
Why do you say that?
Because, well, I guess, yeah, the tail doesn't have like your stomach and lungs in it, but also you can't grow that back.
That's true.
You're not a lizard.
It's true, but the tail is harder to grab. Oh. They could more easily, slip out and get away. Yeah.
It's like when you try biting like a really juicy hot dog, but then the hot dog slips out.
I guess. I haven't had that happen to me, but
I have.
Guess so.
I made my hot dog too juicy.
Okay. So it could be helping raccoons communicate with each other. There's a really adorable sort of way this plays out. Baby raccoons often follow their mothers. So the black and white sort of tail, if you imagine looking at that black and white tail from behind, you get the effect of sort of like concentric rings, which could be giving the baby raccoons like a target to follow, basically. Aww. Like saying like, follow me. Like,
ow, who's scratching me?
And that could also help them better see and interpret each other's body language. So if you are a raccoon coming across another raccoon, if the tail is very brightly striped, it would give you an easier time of seeing, okay, well, this raccoon has their tail all puffed up. Maybe they're not very friendly. Or maybe this raccoon is swishing their tail around. Maybe they're trying to show me something. So it could be helping them communicate better with each other. So those are all a few reasons why raccoons might have striped tails.
10 out of 10.
For sure.
Don't you do animal ratings usually?
Yeah, that's what the whole podcast is about.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 on all variables.
Can you read the second question from
Give me. What did the monitor lizard evolve from?
Do you know what a monitor lizard is?
Well, it has the word monitor in it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like a really old computer?
There are a lot of jokes on the internet of like, there will be like two water monitors. That's like a type of monitor lizard. So it'll be two water monitors that are like wrestling each other. They're like fighting. And the caption on it will say like dual monitor setup because they're monitors that are like dueling each other. And a dual monitor is when you have two computer screens.
I'm fighting it so
What are you
hard.
Fighting?
Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
Oh, I set you up for failure with that one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
First of all, an example of a
Windows 0.
An example of a monitor lizard that you might be familiar with is the Komodo dragon. Is a type of monitor lizard.
Are you kidding me?
Also, Asian water monitors.
Are they waterproof?
I mean, sort of. They swim. They spend a lot of time in the water.
Oh, here's a fun fact about Komodo dragons. They have sort of a no place like home philosophy, but someone did an experiment. Like, they have a really good sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
So someone did an experiment where they took one group of so they have these 8 Komodo dragons.
Yeah.
They take 4 of them and put them on the opposite side of the island with the population.
Mm-hmm.
And they take the other 4 and they place them on an island about a mile away.
Okay.
And, of course, the Komodo dragons in a mile away, they know where their island is, but they didn't go home. You know why?
Why?
Because they'd rather, live out the rest of their days on this island than risk getting swept out to sea by a huge wave, and then they're going to have, a very unpleasant end. So they'd rather stay on this guaranteed death island, but it's going to be a pleasant death. Because there's no food, so you're just going to be kind of chilling.
Okay.
But you don't want to drown. Drowning is not fun.
No. Also, there's probably bigger and scarier threats in the water than there are on the land.
Yeah, it's I don't want to be food, so I think I'll just stay here.
Yeah, especially when you get into small islands, where they live.
Guys, why you do this to me? Bring me back.
Yeah, there's probably not going to be a lot of land predators, but there are going to be a lot of ocean predators. So you're probably safer on land. I had never heard of this study when we recorded, but I was able to find it later. It is called Exploring Mechanisms and Origins of Reduced Dispersal in Island Komodo Dragons, and that was by Tim S. Jessup et al. In the Proceedings of the Royal Society B, and that was published in November of 2018. The specific details are a little different, but Isaac got the gist of it. To quote the paper, most telling was that the Komodo dragons subjected to inter-island translocations remained residents 3 years after settlement onto a novel island. This fidelity suggests lizards avoid ocean crossings to return to resident islands. Pretty neat stuff. Back to the episode. So Crystal's kiddo wanted to know, what did a monitor lizard evolve from? And this is a kind of a difficult question to answer. So I had to think a lot about how I wanted to answer this question, because there are, first of all, about 80 different species of monitor lizards. They're in the genus Varanus, and DNA evidence suggests that these species all came from a common ancestor that lived in Asia during the mid to late Cretaceous period, which would have been the last 40-ish million years before the big asteroid. So this would have been towards the tail end of dinosaur times. That would have been the last common ancestor, the grandma or grandpa that gave birth to, all of what would later become all of the different monitors. I don't think there's any way to know what species that common ancestor was. We don't have fossil record for that, but based on phylogeny, I guess, they just know that that's about when their last common ancestor would have been. So as far as what they evolved from, it would have been some type of lizard that lived about 66 to 100 million years ago. It probably looked pretty similar to today's monitor lizards because they tend to all kind of follow the same general body plan. So it probably didn't look super different from today's monitor lizards. But I found this interesting. The closest living relatives to today's monitor lizards are something called earless monitors that are not technically monitors, but I wanted to show you a picture because I think you're going to lose it when you see them.
Are they cute?
They're so cute.
Here, show me a picture. I love them.
What do you think of that?
I need a stuffed version of that.
How cute are they?
I need a stuffy of that. They look like little snakes with legs.
I think they look exactly like the dragons from Game of Thrones.
I know. I just need dragon. That's what I'm going to ask for Christmas.
Oh, an earless monitor lizard? Here's a picture from Wikipedia.
I want an earless monitor for Christmas. Only an earless monitor will do. I can't believe that went so...
Aren't they cute?
I did not think any of that through before I started singing.
I know, that was freestyle. So those are the closest living relatives to today's monitor lizards. So the ancestor of all of today's monitor lizard species probably looked a little something like that. I don't think it's known exactly what the common ancestor of all of the varanids was, but hopefully that answers the question as to what monitor lizards evolved from. If you want to go back further than that, then they would have how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go back to
if you go far back enough, we are all stardust.
That's true. Exactly. So true.
Stardust.
So true, bestie.
What? Wait, did you just say so true, bestie?
I did say so true, bestie.
I'm your son.
Slay Pookie.
What?
All right.
You better edit that.
Can you read our last question, please? This question is from Ryland.
Okay. Ryland, age 7. Why do red foxes live so close to people when they have a house in the forest? Ryland, fun fact, foxes do not have houses in forests.
Okay, Mr. Pedant.
They have homes, but sure, they have houses in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Little fox neighborhood.
They live in the forest, but I think what Ryland wants to know is why do they often live where people live rather than staying in the woods and far away from people?
So, probably because foxes are sly and they're trying to trick us.
Oh.
And or just because we waste so much food and they're like, "Oh, it's free food."
I think you're spot on with that one.
Yeah, we waste food. So they're like, or maybe way back when, back in someone's day, they were good friends with the doggerhood. And so dogs went over to humans and they went belly up. Well, not in that way, but they rolled over. They sat, they stayed, they rolled over, and now they're getting treated like kings.
Oh, so you think the foxes want in on that?
So the foxes are like, we need some of that.
You would be surprised by how well what you're saying aligns with what I actually came up with.
PhD! I need a PhD!
So first of all, I think you're spot on with the fact that humans waste a lot of food, or we at least drop a lot of food, right? So people just kind of, you drop some pizza crusts on the ground, French fries here and there, stuff like that.
Think about it this way. If one person drops one fry on the ground, that's not even enough to feed one fox. But if every person in, let's say, Federal Way dropped a French fry on the ground, that would be enough to feed, a whole den of foxes.
Yeah.
So they're like, we just gotta trick these dummies into dropping fries for us.
Well, here's the thing. Foxes, do you know what foxes eat?
They eat mice. And
Sure.
they will also attempt to eat small cats.
Sure. Yeah, so foxes are carnivores, right?
Yeah, I know that from warrior cats.
They can be a little bit omnivorous. They wouldn't turn down, a meal, but they do tend to prefer to eat meat. So not only are people, dropping food and dropping bits of food that foxes like on the ground, so foxes are just taking the food from humans directly, but also all of that food that humans are dropping attracts rats and mice and squirrels and all of the little rodents and birds and all of those little critters that foxes like to eat. So they're not just after our food, but they're after the food that our food is attracting.
It's like, I could eat these fries or I could wait and eat the seagulls.
Yeah. Humans also tend to keep chickens. Foxes love to eat chickens.
Oh, what about... That reminds me of The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Yeah. Also, not only is there, an abundance of food, there's a lot of food around, but there's also not as many large predators because human activity tends to scare away those larger predators that might normally be a threat to foxes. So that would be things like wolves and owls and eagles. Owls especially being a large predatory bird that's out at night when foxes are also out. So being in a human populated area often means fewer of those large predators. So it's all around. There's a lot of food available and it's kind of safer for the fox. So
those foxes got it made.
You do see a lot more what's called urban foxes. That's what these are. These foxes that tend to live in human areas. You see a lot more of those in places like the UK than you do here in the United States.
Bob's your uncle.
Okay.
Who is the aforementioned Bob?
I don't know. Anyway.
Bobby Fischer.
In the United States, we have things like coyotes and large cats, like coyotes and bobcats, that I think tend to outcompete or, be a threat to foxes. So foxes don't come into American cities as much as they do in the UK. In the UK, they're everywhere, but here they're not so much.
You're forgetting lynxes.
I mean, lynxes would be like very far north. Down here, you would have bobcats, which are in the lynx genus.
Also, since you mentioned coyotes.
We heard coyotes last night. Did you hear them? Out in the
Yeah.
woods?
We also heard the girlies fighting.
The girlies were fighting.
They're crashing out.
We were at this camp. We were camping at this campsite at like 2, 3 a.m. I was woken up. I guess you're too heavy of a sleeper, but I got woken up.
No, I woke up.
Oh, okay. This girl was like screaming. She was really, in like a screaming match with somebody. Like they were like cussing each other out.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, back to foxes. So I wanted to touch on the thing that you mentioned about how dogs became domesticated by humans, and dogs had such a good life that maybe foxes wanted to try it. So there was a 2020 study comparing the shapes of the skulls of foxes who live close to people, so urban foxes, comparing the skulls of urban foxes with foxes who live far away from people, and showed that they actually tend to be noticeably different. So foxes that lived in urban areas tended to have shorter and wider snouts than foxes that lived in rural areas, and there was also less what's called dimorphism in urban foxes. So the males and females looked more similar to each other than in rural foxes.
I think I got this one. So, Neanderthals and hunter-gatherers, they had bigger jaws. Like, their lower jaw was bigger because they had to get bigger jaws to crunch up all those, like, nuts and hard things that they were eating.
Okay.
But with the invention of, like, donut holes and soft serve ice cream, now we need smaller but, like, longer jaws to fit more food. But so I'm thinking that might be happening. So since they have longer snouts, they're using that to fit more food, but there might be less food for rural foxes. So they're just focusing on making it wider so that they, like, if they don't have any food that's too big.
Yeah. I don't know about that, actually. I didn't see anything about, like, the why, like, these particular morphological adaptations. But these trends are very, very similar to the trends that were seen in the famous Russian fox experiment. Have you ever heard of this before?
No.
You're going to love this.
It's alive.
So the Russian fox domestication experiment, geneticist Dmitry Belyayev began a breeding program that selected only the tamest, least aggressive foxes. So they had all of these Siberian foxes, so they're like a dark gray, silvery colored fox that were usually bred for fur. So they were bred to be harvested for their fur. But basically, he took all of these foxes and would like go around to each fox and approach them and try to handle them. And the foxes that had the tamest reactions to being approached got to basically be bred and have kits and go on to the next generation. The ones that were like mean and bit the handlers, they didn't get to go on to the next generation. So basically over generations and generations of selecting only the tamest and gentlest and more approachable foxes, eventually you get it's like a domestication speed run. Basically, they're picking like the most approachable, the friendliest foxes. But oddly enough, they noticed that the resulting generations started to develop physically puppy-like characteristics. So they started to have floppy ears and curly tails and shorter muzzles. So they started to look more like puppies just because they were the ones that were like selected for these sort of like positive like reactions to humans.
They accidentally created a new breed of foxes.
Yeah. It was not an accident. They did it on purpose. They were setting out to do that.
I just realized I can get a pet fox.
You absolutely cannot get a pet fox.
What?
I would say it's still not a good idea to keep these as a pet, like especially if you are not someone who is like very experienced with wildlife. First of all, they're very, very, very difficult, nearly impossible to house train. They pee everywhere. They smell so bad. You also have to like make sure it's legal in your area. Like it's not legal in a lot of places. Also, not all vets will see them. You have to take them to an exotic vet, which can be very difficult to find and expensive. All around, it's a bad idea. if you're thinking about it, don't. Just get a cute dog instead. Get like a Shiba or something like that, like a dog that looks like a fox. So anyway, this study basically showed that these urban foxes that were studied had very similar physical traits to the ones seen in this domestication experiment. But nobody had gone out to breed them. Nobody had like selected them. This wasn't part of a breeding program. This was just the foxes naturally living and breeding in this area. And it almost seems like the foxes are in the process of domesticating themselves. Because nobody's setting out to like breed these foxes, right? You know, some people don't like them and some people will try to, you know, shoo them away or kill them. But some people will like feed them. It's kind of like feral cats, you know? Nobody's like setting out to breed them, but it seems like they're almost sort of like reinforcing these domesticated traits in their own population.
It's like when you want someone to do something for you, you try to make them think it's their idea. And so you kind of clue them. You gotta kind of like drop small hints on them.
Yeah. And
then they're like, oh yeah, you want me to do this? And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, sure, since I thought of it, it must be fine.
Yeah.
So maybe they made these foxes think that they wanted to get domesticated. Well, maybe that wasn't the intention. Maybe they picked approachable foxes, and the approachable foxes were like, we should have approachable kids. So they just started like brown nosing. Started brown nosing humans.
So yeah, it kind of seems like foxes are like in the process of sort of domesticating, and that's not because of anything humans tried to do. Like humans didn't make any attempt to domesticate them on purpose. I mean, they did, but not in these foxes. It just seems to be that humans inadvertently created a very sort of fox-friendly environment, and the foxes like to be in it. So they're like slowly over time adapting to take advantage of it more.
Maybe eventually my kids, my great-great-great-grandkids, they can have pet foxes.
I don't know.
That's
TBD.
Their moms.
TBD. Oh yeah, that's gonna be your great granddaughter's decision.
Great. No, that would be my. You said 4 grades, but I said 3 grades.
However many grades.
And my great granddaughter's decision, or my great granddaughter-in-law's decision.
True. It's gonna be up to their mom.
It's gonna be up to their mom, and if they have a cruel mom, if their mom is cruel and they say no fun at all.
What? What are you saying about me?
I didn't say anything about you.
You saying only a mom who's cruel and hates fun wouldn't let me have a pet fox.
I said no. I said if they have a cruel mom who doesn't like fun, then they're probably not going to get a fox. You need to let me finish. Let me finish.
Functionally no different from what I said.
Okay, you said that only a cruel mom who hates fun wouldn't let me have a fox. I said if they have a mom who is cruel and hates fun, they probably won't have a fox.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Okay,
There's
I'll
a difference. You just didn't pick it up.
Okay. A skill issue, I guess, on my part.
Skill issue.
All right. Well, that was our last question. That's all for this year's Kid Questions episode. Thank you so much to everybody who sent them in. These were really good questions. I had a lot of fun answering them.
Thank you so much to my mom for putting me on this podcast.
And thank you, Isaac, for being here. I know a lot of people really love to hear you when you're on and have been really looking forward to hearing you again.
Oh, guy who had to stop in the middle of the road because I was too funny, I am sorry. I remember you.
Yeah, someone did tell Isaac that.
Maddie, who sent in a picture of a delivery burb from my little made-up ecosystem from the last episode. Maddie, thank you for the suggestion. I have named one of my Pokemon after it.
Nice.
In Pokemon Go.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
My 4-star Swablu.
Yeah.
I have like 6 candies for it because they're so freaking rare.
You know what? Hey, maybe next year Finley can join us. Do you think Finley will be ready next year?
I don't
you think we
so.
can get Finley on the mic?
Maybe when he's 6.
Maybe when he's 6. Okay. Maybe that can be a 6-year-old.
And then when he's 10.
That's true. He has to follow the same rhythm.
Yeah, because then it wouldn't be fair.
All right, Isaac. Well, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having fun with us. And thank you, dear listener, for spending this time with us.
Dear listeners, we might be talking to like a family of like 18.
Oh, I was talking to the one person who listens to our podcast. There's only one. You didn't know that?
I didn't believe that for a second.
It took you a second. You were like, I don't think that's right. If you had fun and enjoyed the time that you spent here with us, I would love it if you left
Like and subscribe.
And
smash that bell.
Ring that bell, yeah. Leave us a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. We're also on social media.
Maximum Fun.
Yes, Maximum Fun is our network. If you'd like to learn more about the other shows on the network or how you can be a part of supporting our show and get access to our exclusive monthly bonus content, head over to MaximumFun.org to check those out. And finally, we'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music.
Louis Zong. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, Max Fun. You pay them money and you get to listen to more of our episodes.
That's right. Special ones.
Special ones.
You haven't been on a bonus one yet.
Put me on a bonus one.
Okay, maybe I'll put you on a bonus one.
Next month.
We'll see. Well, thanks, Isaac. We'll talk to you again soon. I'll talk to you again very soon.
Probably telling me to go to sleep.
I'll talk to you again like right after this.
It's like, now is not the time for Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yes, that's a great impression. That's exactly what I sound like.
Exactly what you sound like when I'm just like playing with my Yu-Gi-Oh cards in my bed.
All right, it's time for you to go to bed. All
no,
right,
it's not.
Say goodnight to the listeners.
Good night, listeners. Actually, good morning, listeners. If you're listening to this in the morning, have a good lunch, listeners, listening to this during their lunchtime. Have a good day.
Happy birthday to listeners listening to this on your birthday.
Happy New Year. Happy Halloween. Merry Christmas.
Happy Arbor Day.
What's
Don't forget
Arbor
to
Day?
File your taxes if you're listening to this on the tax deadline.
Happy National Pretzel Day. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride. Yes.
Yeah. Happy April Fool's Day.
Wait, keep doing happy things and I'll just do a fade out into the end.
Happy April Fool's Day if you're listening to this on my birthday. Happy Thursday. Happy Black Friday. You know what? Happy Friday in general. Friday is a blessing. Happy Juneteenth and happy Ramadan.
Okay, perfect.
Happy Eid.
Bye.
Bye.
Maximum Fun, a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.